It was lunchtime, and the team went to the employee canteen to dine. They were laughing and joking, telling Olga the funny stories that had happened before she came. In the canteen, all the employees shifted their eyes to the newbie in the group, both boys and girls admiring her beauty. The team found a place to sit together. Owen looked at Wilson, who was sitting beside Olga, and said, "Man, the place you're sitting in is mine. Only a handsome man like me is suitable to sit beside our beautiful Olga." Those words were not only heard by all the employees, but also by Mr. James, the CEO, who was seated in the VIP section. Only the high-ups of the company could dine there. There was a distance between the two parts, but Owen was too loud. Everyone could hear what he said. James was sitting, having lunch with his secretary, Nick. He was fuming in anger after hearing what Owen had just said. Owen is a handsome guy. He attracts lots of women, and James couldn't stand it. The receptionist, who said she doesn't like her, has been in love with Owen for years, but Owen has never even had a glance at her. Now he's running after the woman he just saw, and her hatred towards Olga increased. The team, without caring much, continued their conversations, laughter echoing in the canteen. Everyone wished to join this team. They were so united. James stood up to leave the canteen. He looked at Olga, then turned his glare at Nick. "I want this girl in my office after lunch." Nick was stunned by the sudden behavior, then responded, "But sir, you didn't eat." But before he could finish, James said again, "Just do as I say, after lunch, in my office." Nick was planning on how to approach this girl. He was also interested in her. But what he didn't understand was why James, an engaged man, got angry and looked interested in her. Could it be that he's in love with her, and that's the reason he's been doing all of that in her favor? He has never acted like that over a woman. This doesn't smell good. I thought he hired her because she was the best. But now it looks personal, he wondered. After having their lunch, they headed back to their office. Jack was talking about the dinner they were going to have after work. Olga saw Nick clearly. He was busy eating with one hand holding a tablet. "It's him. I wasn't mistaken." She turned to Jack, who was the talkative one. She knew he would tell her everything she needed to know, but the other members also noticed Olga's attention towards Nick. Hey, Jack. May I ask you? Anything beautiful? What do you want to know?" "See that man? The one sitting at the VIP table?" Olga questioned him. The team also joined the talk. "Who? You mean Mr. Nick?" Jack responded. "Ooh, his name is Nick?" Olga pondered. Owen didn't like it. He convinced himself that he would be the only one to get Olga's attention. Then he asked, "Why are you asking about him? Did you fall for him?" "No, not at all. It's just that we met somewhere. He saved us, me and my two friends. We were kidnapped and we were hopeless, but he came from nowhere with the police to save us. He took us to the hospital and paid the bills. That was the last time we saw him. We didn't know anything about him. He just disappeared. I am just surprised to see him here. I wish I could at least go there and thank him, but I may be punished for that, right? Or maybe others might think that I am showing off." The team listened and felt empathetic. Owen added, "You know, Olga, high-ups are also human beings. It would be horrible to let young girls be harmed when you have the power to save them. If you want to thank him, you can wait for him in the VIP parking lot. He's always with Mr. Hawkins. Most of the time, they go home late when everyone has left. You'll have to wait for him after work. Just do it when other employees have already gone home. We'll wait together, and the dinner will come later." The whole team agreed. She was so lucky to have such a wonderful team. Then they went back to work. James was sitting in his office, thinking about how he was going to act before Olga. He's been at the same table with the most powerful people in the city, but he has never felt this unease. Why am I so afraid? Is this how love works? By that time, he heard a knock on the door. He thought it was Olga, so he sat down and said, "Enter." But as the door opened, he saw none other than Jocelyn's father, Mr. Simon Cowell. He was so disappointed and murmured, "Nick, you." He gathered himself together and stood up to welcome his soon-to-be father-in-law. "Good afternoon, Mr. Cowell. Please have a seat." He said that with a smile, then excused himself and called Nick. "Nick, change of plans. I have got a guest in the office. I don't need any disturbance." He hung up and called again. "Coffee, please." He gestured for the secretary to put the coffee on the table. As she left the office, James looked at Simon. "So, Mr. Cowell, you didn't tell me you were visiting?" "I was thinking about marriage. Have you thought about the dates and everything? Because, we need each other in terms of business. So I thought I could come for us to talk about it. Your father told me he would follow your decisions." James didn't want to have this conversation. Mr. Cowell, with due respect, I am a man who doesn't need to marry a girl because of money and power. Me and Jocelyn talked about it. We'll plan the wedding when she returns. Okay, James. Now let's talk about business. You need me for the Horizon project. How about we cooperate and then the wedding comes later? But the project doesn't have to wait a whole year. They kept talking until it was 5 p.m. Other employees were wrapping up their work to head home. They had agreed to wait for Nick. "What does Nick do here?" Olga asked curiously. Jack was quick to answer. "Well, he's the CEO's personal secretary. He follows him wherever he goes. It's like his personal bank of secrets." Olga turned. "That means the CEO has 2 secretaries? And Nick only does what Mr. Hawkins tells him to do." "You beat me on that," James said. At home, Maggie was finally happy that Olga was about to come home. She took her phone and called her and murmured as she searched for the number and dialed, "I know your work is done by now. Please pick up the call." In the office, Olga picked up the call. "Hey girl, what's up?" Maggie, with joy, responded, "When are you coming back home? I miss you. And I've got great news." "What? What's the news?" Olga asked. "Baby girl, you won't believe it, but it's a long story. I will tell you face to face. Let's eat outside today." "Ah, girl, I think you'll have to eat alone, just for today. I am having a welcome dinner party with my team." Maggie, her joy shattered, said, "Baby girl, you can't do this to me. You know I can't eat alone. Please, I beg." "Look, Maggie, I will bring you something, okay? But today, we can't eat together," Olga replied. "May I join you? Please." Maggie begged her, but Olga cut her off. "Look, girl, it's not my decision to make. It's a team dinner. I don't know if they would accept it." Maggie was disappointed and felt like Olga had other friends besides her. Jack happened to hear the conversation and said, "Let her come. It's no biggie." "Oh, listen, Maggie, now dress up. I will text you the address." Maggie, with joy, thanked her. Okay, it will be done in 10 minutes. "Thank you, love. You're the best."